Hi, I'm Ting. I'm a researcher and the lab manager at BLIP Lab NTU. Today, we'd like to share with you a poster which we presented at the recent virtual conference of the International Congress of Infant Studies. Come with me to understand the puzzle of vocabulary development in multilingual Singapore and find out about how you can help us find all of its missing pieces. Here's an overview of our poster. If you'd like a copy, please look at the description box below. First, let us look at the language environment of Singapore. As many of you may know, Singapore is massively multilingual. Intergenerational community multilingualism is the norm here. When we look at census data, more than 90% of young adults report being bilingual in English and one other language. For 5 to 10-year-olds, more than 50% use English as the main language at home. And for toddlers, 70% grow up hearing 2 or more languages. This is especially so if grandparents are a part of their care. So this brings us to the first question. How does bilingualism emerge across development? At 2 years of age, what is a typical bilingual lexicon structure and a typical bilingual lexicon size? To help us answer these questions, we collaborated with Gusto, which is Singapore's largest longitudinal birth cohort study. We looked in particular at Chinese-English bilingual families. Parents of these families completed the Singapore adaptation of the MacArthur Bates CDI for Mandarin Chinese and English. The CDI is essentially a word list in which the parents can indicate the words that their child know and use. The children were about 2 years of age when this data was collected. With the information given by the parents, we computed 2 measurements. One is lexical concept, and the other is word forms. So for example, if the child knew the word cat, they would get 1 mark for lexical concept and 1 mark for word form. If the child also knew the word mao, they would get 2 marks for word form. Now let's look at the results. It does not matter if the child in our sample has a relatively small reported vocabulary size or a pretty big one. We can see that for the children in our sample, for every lexical concept that they knew roughly 2 word forms. When we look at the split across both languages, we see that for the children in our sample, 50% of their lexical concept is shared across both languages. We see that there is a bias towards knowing more English word forms compared to Chinese word forms. So now that we know a little bit about the bilingual lexicon structure, what about the bilingual lexicon size? To help us know more about this, we compared the children in our sample to monolingual English-speaking children from the US. The children from the US are aged between 18 to 30 months, and they're represented in gray here. The median vocabulary sizes of these children are represented by the gray bars here. And we can see that the children in our sample, represented in red, have a relatively smaller vocabulary size compared to their monolingual same-age peers. In fact, the vocabulary sizes of children in our sample seem to be more similar to a child 2 to 3 months younger from the US. So then we ask ourselves, where did all the missing words go? Well, we think one of the possible reasons is that the words on the previous vocabulary checklist did not fully capture all the words that a Singaporean child may know. Now, we started the talk by talking about how Singapore is massively multilingual. Multilingualism brings about a lot of language contact and language change. And years of language contact and change has brought about a unique tier of vocabulary used with young children. Now, these special child-directed words exist mainly in oral language, and many of them have yet to be documented. So in Singapore, we can ask a child to sayang a cat, we can ask them to pom pom after dinner, and encourage them to put on the potty. While the word sayang originated from Malay, many of these other words have no clear language of origin. However, all of these words are used by speakers across Singapore, regardless of their language backgrounds. Now, here's how you can help us find out more about these words. We designed an online word game called Red Dot Baby Talk, in which you can tell us about the use of these special child-directed words. You can tell us If you know the word chocho or bantal busuk or even shishi, and you can also tell us at what age do you think a Singaporean child may know these words. You can find the game at this website or look at the description box below. Now, your contribution is valuable and important to us. It will help our multilingual team iteratively design better vocabulary checklists to capture the vocabulary sizes of Singaporean children. You can find us and connect with us on our Facebook page or send us an email. We really hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.